Well, good morning and welcome to the 30th of December 2024. And there'll be today's video and tomorrow's video, and then the next one it'll be 2025. It seems pretty hard to believe a quarter century has passed since the year 2000. We rang in the millennium, and I know it was really 2001, but you know what I'm saying. Um, the big scare with the double digit years computers were going to stall out every year. That was a quarter of a century ago. A quarter of a century. People that were born that year are 25 years old. That's just crazy. Well, I'm going to give you the weather, but the weather's getting really boring. I've got nothing of substance to say. It's 41 degrees out in Quartzsite, Arizona, boondocking in La Posa, south, 3 miles south of town. And it is 6:14 a.m. And wow, just 41 degrees. That's not bad for this time in the morning. And it's going to get up to 70 today under looks like totally sunny skies. I don't see any warnings of clouds, but over the next 10 days, most days, there's going to be a little bit of cloud cover. Partly cloudy or partly sunny, depending on your point of view and attitude, right? And the temperatures are going to hover between 70, low six, excuse me, very high 60s and low 70s the whole 10 days. The lows are going to be between 40 and 45. And the winds are mild to moderate. And moderate, I mean 8 to 9 miles per hour. There's nothing over 9 for the next 10 days. So pretty ideal weather conditions for this area. It's just lovely, lovely, lovely time. And coming into the biggest part of the season here in Quartzsite, January, it's people are going to pour in like you can't believe. It's going to be so exciting. It's my favorite time of year here when the crowds come in and I get to go to the big tent and it's wall to wall people. I know some people don't like that, but you can stay here and not go to the big tent or go to the outskirts and just observe. Or if you love it like I do, dive right in there. I'll do a big long video every single day of the big tent show. I'll go every day because I find it so interesting and exciting. All the different vendors and people. It's just great. All right, let's see where we are with comments. I have this queued up and ready to go. And the first one is from David Chenoweth. On the video was author Deborah Dickinson mini meetup in frugal RV gal. And David says, wow, upset over pet hair. Please, now's the time to rethink like. I think he means if you don't like the video, don't watch it. Don't like throw criticism at things you don't like. Just move on. I like that. So the positive news video was called "Why Shutting Down a Kids Camp is Good," and it's good because it was there for special needs that don't really exist anymore. That's the good news part of that. And Stacy Jones says, heartbreaking, but thank God it's no longer needed. Pup Camper 58. Oh, this is from my good friend, Cheryl, and it's hard to read because it's a compliment. It's a very deep compliment to me. So I'm a little embarrassed by it, but I'm going to read it. I feel compelled to come to Rob's defense. This is on people criticizing me for having pet hair on my shirts when I'm filming. There is no one I know who has a kinder heart and loves everybody's pets in camp more than Rob. It is apparent when our dogs see him, they pull you down to get to him for attention. I've seen Rob sit down on the ground in this dusty desert just to love on my dog Clover, who absolutely adores him. And yes, she sheds horribly and gets hair all over him, and it doesn't even faze him. More people should take a lesson from a person who's that much kindness in their heart. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Cheryl. And Grey Wolf Travels on author Deborah Dickinson. Thanks for the ride, he says. Well, it's not just the meetup. I take you along in the ride to get there, and we walk in there together. On day trip to Mora, New Mexico, and surprise guests, it was one of my favorite videos from more than a couple of years ago when I was staying in New Mexico. There's a little town called Mora, and I did a tour there, and some little kids came up and wanted to be in the video. It was fun. VJ Mexico says, wow, thank you for some wonderful memories. I grew up in Mora County, Rainsville, early 30s, attended Mora High in the mid to late 40s. I can still close my eyes and visualize 4 or 5. Now let's stop for a minute. I grew up in Mora County, early 30s, attended high school in the 40s. So this person is in their 90s, right? Let's keep that in mind. I can still close my eyes and visualize 4 or 5 livery stables all doing great business. Every bar in town had hitching posts with several horses swishing at flies, patiently waiting for LFA. On a trip to Mora, you might see a pickup or two. It can always count on the highway patrol's car, and that's about it. Times are so much simpler in some ways, yet we were engaged in 2 terrible wars. Thank you for a wonderful video, and happy and safe travels to you. What do you think of that? Thank you so much, VJ Mexico. Why shutting down kids camp is good? There's Ken Gray says, good news, thanks for sharing. On the comment video, Tim Cochin says, be there on the 18th. Can't wait. Great video. I love my Honda 7000 generator. That's a big, powerful generator. 3,800 hours so far. Thanks for the info. I'm going to guess Tim has maybe a big 5th wheel. That's a big generator. That's I bet he's running 50 amp service maybe on that. Can you do that? I don't know. You know what? I haven't really thought about that. Can you take a big generator and feed in? Because I know, like on the pedestals, a 50 amp service is combining 2 circuits. And can you do it? Somebody knows about that, how a generator works with 50 amp versus 30 amp. Or maybe I'm overcomplicating it. On the author Deborah Dickinson, Edmund Kano says $300 next year. That's what I heard. And I was speculating, okay, how much is, they say they want to raise the rates here for an annual pass to $600. What are they really going to do? And Edmund is saying he heard it's actually going to be $300. We'll see if that's right. That's the first person anywhere that I've heard say they got information of what it's going to be. You would think a lot of people would say stuff like that, but that's not true. This is the first time I've heard someone say that. And they just, when I read it, I'm like, this sounds like there might, don't ask me why. My instinct, my gut tells me there's some credibility here coming from Edmund. So it'll be interesting to see if that's correct. Sue Ropp on the comment says, in my humble opinion, the beautiful dotty hair would not be nearly as noticeable if you would just wear gray or tan shirts. You're one of a kind. So, I say, sorry, I like the shirts I have. And Virginia Hankey says, Sue Ropp, why diminish the glory of sharing and fur love? So it's an odd comment. I'd like, you're one of a kind with hearts and stuff. That's really nice. But just to suggest that I change what I'm wearing to please people, I just, that doesn't. So here's what I think about is this IMHO is a standard thing that people use, and it stands for in my humble opinion. And often it's not. Often it's not, I think. Often it's not humble, especially when you're delivering an unsolicited opinion just to anyone for any, for any reason. I'm not sure how that ties with being humble. I think a humble opinion is one that's generally is solicited. Rob, what do you really think? And I might take a risk and maybe tell you something maybe you don't want to hear as your friend, but I'm going to take a risk and tell you what I think the truth is. That's humility. That's taking a risk that's authentic. It's coming from a place that's true, honest, and I'm taking a little bit of risk for you, even though I'm thinking about that because I asked a friend here in camp for her opinion on something, and she double checked with me and said, okay, you're asking, are you sure you want to hear what I have to say, because it might be painful for you? She checked in first, and I said, yes, I want to hear it, and delivered a tough love opinion that made a big difference to me, and I'm very grateful for it. So that is a humble opinion. So I'm not picking on you, Sue Ropp, with it IMHO. It just made me think of that, because I'm not saying it, you're misusing it. It just reminded me that I see that IMHO as a stamp on things that people say on the internet, kind of to justify what they're saying. And sometimes it's appropriate and sometimes it's not. But it's a good topic to discuss. It was a good topic. Ken Gray, great visit, but you just had to mention it. The poem is called To Market. So I just mumbled in the video, home again, jiggity jig. And I thought, what the heck is that from? Well, Ken got on and answered it, and he says, the poem is called To Market, and the poem is to market, to buy a fat pig. Home again, jiggity jig. To market, to buy a fat hog. Home again, jiggity jog. To market, to buy a plum cake. Home again, market is late. He says there's more, but I'll let everyone look it up. You can always count on Ken to get the 411. Okay? If you're young, you may not know what 411 is. Does 411 even exist anymore? I don't think so. 411 is if you wanted information, if you wanted Travels with Dottie's phone number, you dial 411 and you get an operator and says, can you look up Travels with Dottie in Keokuk, Iowa? And they give you the phone number. Now we have the internet. Naj says, thanks for the ride into town. Those nachos were yummy. Can't wait to see the big tent. Have a blessed day. Big hug to Dottie and George. You know, the nachos were good, but it has that like cheese whiz kind of cheese, liquid cheese over it. And I ate some there. They were pretty good. And that night I had some, and I think it's still in the fridge. I got to throw it away, the rest of it. My digestive system doesn't really tolerate that cheese well. It tastes good, but it doesn't tolerate it very well. Virginia Hankey, I was talking about lamb chops on Captain Kangaroo, and Virginia Hankey says lamb chops was Sherry Lewis. I guess that was the actress that did the puppet. And Ken Gray says, and she was on Captain Kangaroo as a regular guest too. And Virginia Hankey said, I've forgotten that. Thanks for the memory. Let's see. Judy, my buddy Judy here in camp. If you're offended by pet hair on his shirt, you need to go elsewhere. Our pets all shed, and it's unavoidable. The pet hair only shows that he loves his babies and he spends time with them. When he walks Dottie over to my camp, my buddy goes crazy because he comes over and loves on my hairy boy. I wouldn't have it any other way, so get a grip or scroll by. Judy. Larry Couch. Hi, Rob. How big is your inverter? And I said it's 3,000 watts. And I think a couple of times I've explained 3,000 watts is pretty darn big, especially, but I can run easily with a lot of headroom with the surge. That 3,000 watt Renogy inverter will surge momentarily for a couple seconds up to 6,000 watts. So I don't have anything, including my AC, that gets anywhere near 6,000 watts on startup. So I can run anything, including my AC. And you go, you run your AC on battery? Well, I can. Do I? Almost never. It's for an emergency basis. And I'll tell you what that is. Because even with 600 amp hours at 100%, 600 amp hours, it'll only run that AC for a couple hours when it's hot. And why would I do that when I have a generator? The answer is I wouldn't, except if I leave Dottie here and it is warmer than I expect and I get a temperature alert on my phone from saying, hey, it just hit 90 degrees in the rig because, I don't know, the temperature's gone higher than, or you forgot to open the windows or whatever happened, where the temperature was higher than I expected, I can remotely turn on my AC. get in my car, travel back to home to take care of everything, to make sure Dottie's okay. In the meantime, by the time I get there, the temperature is not going to be 90, it's going to be 70 when I get there. The batteries will be drained down, by 30-40% after an hour. But I'll switch over to the generator and we'll have the AC going. Dottie will be comfortable and it'll be slowly charging my batteries back up. So that's why I have a 3,000 watt inverter. And yes, I have a soft start on my AC, so I don't have that big a surge, but that's not what really matters. I think 1800 is what about 1800 watts is what it runs on, continuous. And if I had a 2000 watt, that's getting pretty close. And if I have anything else running in the background, I could easily go over that 2000. So 3000 is way more, it's appropriate. So you didn't think you'd get that much information asking what size? 3,000. And I'm going to talk for 10 minutes about it. Buck Jones says, I really got a lot of useful information on your discussion on generators. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. Robert Ballard says, wear the pet hair is a badge of honor. There are no valid complaints for a person who loves and cares for his fur buddies. As you've pointed out on many occasions, the channel is about you and the channel is open, but bring your kindness card with you. And Beat Bearcaw says, I second that. And Virginia Hanker says, as a black garb wearer with cats, I understand. Buck Jones says, I found that complainers actually look for things to complain about. I have little time for those types of people. At 76, I have little time for continual complaining. I'm a big-time animal lover. Well, me too, Buck. Alf Pup. You forgot to mention Box Fan D. This was on author Deborah Dickinson. So I've never met her. It's kind of a rhetorical question. I said, was she there? And Alf didn't answer me, but obviously she was there in the crowd and I didn't realize it. I wish I did, because I've talked to her sort of back and forth online, but we've never met face to face. So I didn't recognize her. I didn't see her. I wish I did. And Box Fan D, if you were there and I didn't come talk to you, it's only because I didn't realize. I've wanted to meet you ever since you've become good friends with my friend Jim Bertrand. I've wanted to meet you. Ken Gray, Sam Cook, wonderful world, but I don't know I love you. But I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world. That was Ken again. What a wonderful world this would be. Sorry about the terrible singing, but I was singing that and wondering what song was that. So Ken got it out there. RV Life says, great advice regarding bullies on my comment video. And author Deborah Dickinson, sometimes I got to watch your video in parts, but I watch it because of work. Oh, it's because of work. You watch it. Nancy Darios watches it in parts because she's at work and has to work between. She watches it in parts. Someone in a sentence on a comment used the word HAGD, and I thought it was a typo and I couldn't figure it out. Well, Ken says HAGD is an abbreviation that means have a good or a great day. And I had to ask Ken, I said, did you know that or did you Google it? And he says, he confessed, he said, check the Urban Dictionary. I'm as up on these things as you are, which it means we're both not. It's like these little acronyms that people, I remember many, many years ago when I was first online, it was like in the 90s, and I was playing this online military game, and you could chat back and forth, and some guy was sending me a message that STFU, and I was perplexed by it and wasn't offended at all. I think he wanted me to stuff something, or, well, I'm not going to say on the video what that means, but if you think about it, you can imagine what STFU means. And it's very derogatory and dirty and awful, but I was clueless. I didn't know enough to be offended. Let's see. Quartzsite Comments. Sue Brown says, hey, Rob, question for you. My husband and I will be retiring in a few years. We're planning to be snowbirds with our pickup and small travel trailer. Hey, just like me. We are considering a road trip to the Southwest before to check out not just Quartzsite, but other areas too. Can you recommend a good time to make the trip when it's not too busy and not too hot? Month of May, October, thanks so much. And I said October, and later, May, it will be hot, hot, hot. And why shutting down kids' camp is good, and RV Life says fantastic news. Globe Master 2356 says, as opposed to Globe Master 2355, right? I know why you do that. I understand that when people do that. They want to be Globe Master, and they say there's already a Globe Master, so you got to put some digits out there to make yourself distinctive. Globe Master says, I have a cat hair on all my shirts. What can I say? My cat loves me, and I love her. There you go. Patricia Peters says, great video. A man, you got to do a video at home with as much pet hair on you as you can get. So funny. I love how you point everything out. Are you going to have a meetup? Yeah, I'm going to have a meetup. I'm going to have a meetup in January, and I thought I'd just do it casually at the dog park in Quartzsite. And I've gotten so many requests. I'm like, how many people are going to show up to this thing? Usually you have a fear if you have a meetup. I've never had a meetup before that nobody's going to show up, right? That's the first fear. And I have that fear, of course. But the other fear I have is too many people are going to show up and somebody's going to say, what the hell's going on here? You can't have a meeting here, and I'll get in trouble. But I'm thinking, if the worst happens and there are too many people, we can move it to the parking lot and people won't be upset. So I guess it'll be okay. Let's see. B-Door. It's B-D-O-R-R. It could be B-D or pardon me. Or it could be the last name. I knew a Brian. That could be my friend Brian from Idaho. That could be Brian Orr. Is it you, Brian? Haters gotta hate. If they got a problem with the hair, they're looking for something out of nothing kind of thing. Wouldn't give it or them another thought. It's coming as you are that shows your genuine self, a sign of good character. I bet it's Brian. It sounds like Brian. Math Spring. More pet hair, please. D.D. Cornell. Good evening, Mr. Rob, Dottie, and George. Well, good evening. It is morning for me, but I know it was evening for you. James Connell says that I would comb my pet and put the hair on my shoulder. Next post. I've been in queue for a month getting upgrades to my cargo camper, and it's getting crowded now. Yeah, it is starting to get crowded, isn't it? I'm ready to head out soon because all the dust kicked up off by the road vehicles. I have AC filters on my windows, but they slide open. I want to see the big tent, but I may not last that long. If anyone at Dome Rock sees my gray cat, let me know. He goes missing sometimes, but has always reappeared a few days later. The dust thing, if you move further out, away from traveled roadways, you'll get less dust. JMN 1238, did you meet up with Rusty 78609 out there? No, I didn't. Rusty and I've never met. I did make an attempt, but it just didn't work out. Because I owe him for these comment videos. This is, I got this side. Someone said, you should check out Rusty. He does a daily comment video. You should do the same thing. And boom, here I am. Chicken Ranch and Arpel Landmarks and Quartzsite. It's a short I did probably 2 or 3 years ago in Pahrump. And Jim Agent says the Chicken Ranch gives free tours. If you want more tour, that's going to cost you. Okay. It's kind of the Chicken Ranch is a legal brothel. Frank McKinley. Wow, a YouTube celebrity launch. Thanks for posting the video. Stacy Jones says, every time you introduce Frugal RV Gal, I think of the time you all were in New Mexico and you called her Frugal RV Guy. It was so cute, hilarious. Barb Connor was there. She was there and she said, I had a great time. Kate Kramer, I agree. The more pet hair, the better. Yes, you could see that dust devil look like a great get together. Thanks for taking us along. Larry Jackson says, I did not know what La Posa meant. It means resting place in Old Spanish. Thanks for your fun, simple videos. It's like hanging out with your best friend. Well, thank you, Larry. Ronald Palmer. Hi, wow, the Buffalo Bills did great, so every day is a fun day. I'm still unpacking things and adding shelves. Made a stand to put my fridge on. Pack up my electric bed twin against the wall behind the fridge. I have to say I'm getting used to places to visit here. The thing I seem to need is a cell phone boost inside my trailer. Well, there's good news and bad news there potentially in your situation. If you're having a problem because you have a weak signal, yeah, cell booster would help. If you're having a problem because you don't have you've got a good signal, but the internet's really super slow, the booster won't help that. I'm sorry, it won't help because that's a sign of tower overload, and a cell booster won't help speed. So in a Camco Olivian Wave 6 versus Wave 3, I did a short on that because I had, for heat years ago, I had a Wave 3 and it wasn't enough for my trailer. It just couldn't keep up. So I bought a 6, the bigger model, and I did a video saying, hey, I switched from the 3 to the 6. This 6 now works for me. Since then, I've made another change, but this was a couple years ago. And Gary Potter says, can I humbly add my opinion? If the Wave 3 can't keep up, your space is way too big. And I just said to him, that was 3 years ago. And what I didn't say was, hey, doesn't the video kind of imply I knew that? I had a 3, it didn't work, so I bought a bigger one, so it worked. And I get it that my space is too big, but my space isn't too big. My space is perfect. The heater that I bought was too small. I know it's kind of the same thing, but it's kind of not, if you know what I mean. Terry Marabito. I love the tour around La Posa South and how you have your trailer space laid out. My wife and I are here as well. I hope to get a chance to run into you. And oh, that was from this morning. That wasn't from this morning. It says, look who I ran into, Nomatic Fanatic and Alex. That was several weeks ago. And actually, I have a video coming up in a couple of days where I ran into Eric, Nomatic Fanatic, again yesterday. But I think that video is going to be, what's today, Monday? So it'll probably be Wednesday that video is coming out. And I'm refreshing, and that is everything. And, well, I only want 28 minutes instead of 50, so it means I didn't go off on an unpredictable tangent this time, like I did yesterday. And this one will be a bit more palatable for those of you that don't like the really long videos. But what do I have out there today? Today I have, let's go to content I've already released. Let's see. He took mom's money and ... So that's a little mystery for the positive news video, number 282. And this one is ride along and check out current conditions in Quartzsite. And there is 4 minutes ago, there is one comment. And Katie Hoke says, love a Big Mac, no pickle, no onion though, but I do like the sauce. So I didn't buy a Big Mac on this trip, but I was talking about I like Big Macs, you know, and you know, if you Google Big Mac, is it good for you, or Big Mac, is it healthy, you will think you will die. The stuff that comes up through news outlets and people's opinions, you would think you will die the next day if you eat a Big Mac. that people are just like so concerned that this is just death in a bun. And I don't think McDonald's has ever claimed that their products like this are healthy for you. But I don't think it's quite as bad as people make it out to be. Anyway, I like an occasional Big Mac. If I have one Big Mac a month, that would be more frequently than I eat Big Macs. So I probably have 5 Big Macs a year, and I think I'm gonna live. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see. So there's that. There's the positive news video, and let's see what else is coming in the future. We have one I really like is Bob, Rob, Dottie, and Little Buddy. That's going to be tomorrow. That's my friend Bob, Kathleen's partner Bob, and Little Buddy is her dog. And Bob and I and Little Buddy went for a walk in the desert, and we had a little chat, and that was I really enjoyed that. And then on Wednesday we'll have the big tent. It says the title is Big Tyson Wells and Nomatic Fanatic. So check that out. I'll see you tomorrow. Grateful for you watching. I really am.